Hey guys, I just had a situation at the field where we started one motor and the kill switch wire was disconnected and we couldn't shut the motor off. Actually, the student couldn't, and was kind of calling at me saying, it doesn't shut off, it doesn't shut off. Clearly didn't know what to do. Anyways, there are some emergencies that we face and we should be ready for them. And I actually I created an app that should help with this. It's called Emergency Memorizer, as you see. Just want to give you a little quick rundown. So if you go to home screen, you see sailing, pilot, PPG emergencies, and PPG regular procedures. So if we go to PPG regular procedures, we see our pre-flight, startup, hookup, landing. So if you go to pre-flight, there's the steps you should go through to make sure that you don't forget anything. I see it all too often, guys don't do all the Velcro straps and so on. And if I go back, I can go to PPG emergencies. I have some, where engine could rev up unexpectedly on a startup, frontal collapse, spin, engine out, forced landing in the water, engine stuck at full power, and so on. So, and I have my sailing emergencies. So a typical one is man overboard, and these would be the steps. So the idea is that you put in your problems. You may be PPG pilot, but you may also be an army person or police. So whatever your problems are, for teachers, it may be a lockdown. You put it in. Now you can type it in manually, but if you actually have someone who's done the work, like for PPG, I have it all entered in. If you have the app and you simply set up account based on your email, and there'll be no junk email from me, I can just send you the PPG emergencies, and so you don't have to type it in yourself. So once you have it in, you can basically use it as a checklist. So that's the first use. The second use is that you can test yourself. You can test that a moment of surprise. So as you see, I have 3 emergencies enabled: sailing, pilot, and PPG emergencies. What am I going to do is, I'm going to leave it as is. So if I hit my test button, which is this triangular button at the bottom, it will pull out one of the emergencies from these 3 categories. It's going to ignore the PPG regular procedures, because they can be done slowly using the app as a checklist. But when I want to be tested, I simply just hit that triangular button, and there it is, PPG emergency, and it was a frontal collapse. What do? Well, the paraglider for beginners that I fly and my students fly, we simply go look up, hands up, and decrease power to idle. And let's see if we got it right. Look up, hands up, power to idle. I'm good on that knowledge. How about next one? PPG emergency, forced landing in the trees. Well, what I would do is I would try to pick the thickest spot possible. You simply don't want to slide in between the trees and then hit the ground from 30 feet up. So pick a really thick part of the forest. Now I don't know whether I actually plug this in. Yeah, I didn't put the steps in. That'll be my next little job. Okay, next. Pilot, spin recovery. Now this is not a PPG pilot. This is a spin in airplane. So the first thing we would do is we pull the power all the way back. We would neutralize the ailerons. We would apply rudder in the opposite direction of the spin, we would then put the steering column all the way forward to break the spin. And then once the airplane starts flying, we would ease off the dive slowly and then regain normal flight. So let's see if I got it right. Throttle idle, set it. Aileron neutralized, set it. Rudder full opposite direction of rotation, got it. Control wheel full forward, rudder when rotation stops, neutral. I think I got these two steps reversed. Control wheel as required to regain level of flight. So I have in my mind reversed the fourth and fifth step. So next time I'll know. One more test perhaps. Boat sinking. Well, let's not go through all the steps, but first thing I would do is I would yell at everyone, hey, get your jackets, life jackets on. And then I would probably get on the radio on channel 16, which is the emergency channel, and I would call Mayday, and so on. So let's check. Retrieve emergency ditch bags. I guess they would be ditch bags with personal locator, beacon, waterproof handle, signal flares, and so on. Okay, well, I need to study a little more. Now, one more functionality of the app is if you go to the alarms, you see the alarm screen here. Basically, you can set yourself several alarm periods every day. So we have Monday to Friday. I just have a one period for the alarm, but you can set it up for breakfast time and lunch time and evening time. And on Sunday, the same thing. But I just have it 3 alarms kind of in a long period of time. And I don't know when those are going to set off. This is completely random. And of course, I also don't know which emergency it is going to present to me. So this is to simulate the element of surprise. And like I already mentioned, if someone goes and plugs in all these procedures, and maybe if I fly Cessna 172, then my emergency procedures are obviously very common because there's lots of people flying that same plane. Well, I can basically just send it to someone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little demonstration here. This is my wife's iPad, and so that is actually herself. So that email is herself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the PPG regular procedures to herself, but you can send it to anybody else who's got the app and who's set up an account and who has an email. So let's see. So PPG regular procedures, I click on that. I want to send this. So go to export. Her email is already here. It's checked. Go to send. It will ask me if I want to do it. I say yes. And it just says that the data was sent. So I go okay. Now at the bottom here, I see that I have received emergencies. And of course, this could be from not myself, but someone else. So I simply click on that. It says that Ann Lantier shared emergencies with you. Proceed to import. Yes. And I should have 2 regular procedures, and I do. And I don't need 2 regular procedures, so I'm just gonna, oops, I'm gonna delete one. There you go. I can maybe, well, no, that's it. I think that gives you an idea. Maybe I'll set up one alarm here just to see what the random function is. Now, what I have to do is the alarms cannot overlap, so I have to edit. So it's 11:05, so I'm going to set this to 11:06. There it is, and I'll do another one, and that's, sorry, 11:07. Not PM, AM. And I just want one alarm. Get in there. And confirm. Okay, so it is 11:06 here, as you see up there. So the alarm will just go off randomly. Maybe I'll just go back to the home screen. Anyways, it's the problem with pilots, especially in the airplane, is this. The emergencies don't happen very often. They do not. So when they do happen, we really haven't practiced and we forgot. So there it is. So there's our emergency. Forced landing in power lines, that's PPG. First of all, avoid power lines at all cost. Just go in the trees, in the water, just anywhere else. Power lines are killer. And what you want to do is you really don't want to connect the two live wires together. So actually hitting just one may make you survive. And also you would never want to make a connection from one live wire onto the ground. So you would never put perhaps one arm on one side of the wire and the other arm on the tower. So anyways, let's see. Avoid at all costs and do not connect high voltage wires. Now we can probably add more steps. This is pretty rudimentary, but this is just to explain to people how this works. So I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. I think every PPG pilot should have one, should have this app, should have the procedures, and practice. If you see this once a day, or, you know, in my case, as you see, I have, you know, 3 areas with emergencies. And of course here, I'm gonna change this again back where I had it. Edit, perhaps make this from 10 o'clock in the morning and go to maybe 7 o'clock p.m. here, and then let's give it 3 alarms and confirm. So basically, as you see, 3 times a day I have this simulated emergency to PAP add me, and then I just have to react to it, and that way I keep my knowledge current and refreshed.